Hi, my name is Kayla. I am the chairperson of our nonprofit group called Sock On. I would like to introduce my group members is Barry Shimak, the Director of Marketing, the Treasurer, Taylor Holt, and our Research and Legal, Zach Bohan. So I would like to give a little bit of background information on why our nonprofit group got started. It was brought to our attention that there has been a major problem at Russian Jack Elementary School, that many students are lacking the basic necessities of having socks and to keep their feet warm during the long winter months in Alaska. I personally got involved with this project because my mother is the cafeteria manager there at Russian Jack, and she would come home and say how there's always drives for hats and gloves and jackets and snow pants and anything to keep the kids warm, but really there wasn't too much going on to keep their feet warm. And that struck me as weird, and not weird, but it was interesting to think that it's something that gets overlooked quite a bit, is just keeping your feet warm. So a little bit of background about Russian Jack Elementary. It's a Title I school, which means that every student gets free breakfast and lunch every day that they attend school. They also provide support to over 300 low-income families. So our objectives are that many of the local churches local churches and businesses hold clothing drives for new and slightly used coats, hats, boots, and gloves. But it really struck us as important that a lot of these charities don't necessarily involve that they need socks. And people often don't realize the dangers of not wearing the proper footwear and socks inside those footwears. So without these socks, these children are at a higher risk of foot disease, bacterial and fungal infections, blisters, and cold weather frostbite. So we're hoping to raise money to provide new and warm socks to the children of Russian Jack. So how we would really like to do this is we are seeking monetary donations from companies either local or chain. We're trying to bring in as many donations as possible so in these next coming summer months, because we can use these next months to gather up the donations, and we are hoping to be providing these socks to the children of Russian Jack within the first month of school. So we have created a webpage by our Director of Marketing, Barry, and we are hoping to spread the word of our company, our nonprofit, through social media. We are accepting donations via cash and check, and we are using this as a tax write-off, and we do have a tax ID number. Our next step is to plan on contacting manufacturers of socks and hoping to raise the necessary monetary donations, or having to be able to raise money or get them to donate actual socks. We are in the process of getting our program up and running, and we would really appreciate your help, and I will let my other board members talk now about their role and what they plan on bringing to the contribution of this group. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Taylor Holt, and I am the treasurer of the Sock On nonprofit organization. Sock On is committed to providing socks for the children of Russian Jack Elementary School in Anchorage, Alaska. We hope to raise $15,000 to purchase and provide new socks to each student once a month for the 10 months of the academic school year. As the treasurer, I am in charge of any and all financial aspects of the group. This includes obtaining the financial resources needed to accomplish the nonprofit goals, how the resources will be utilized, and maintaining the legal and moral ramifications that come along with raising and spending money. As with any nonprofit, funds are needed to further a cause. There are several ways to raise the necessary funds. This could be by recruiting large-scale companies such as Nike to donate the funds, or in some cases the socks themselves. In doing so, this company could receive tax benefits which can only benefit them. Another way is to advertise locally to bring awareness to the cause and bring in potential donors. The last way is to create a fundraising event. In this case, we created the Rock On to Sock On fundraiser. Rock On to Sock On would be a night of music and snacks provided by the students and parents of Rush and Jack Elementary School. The music would be provided by the various music departments in the school, including choir, band, orchestra. This eliminates a lot of the costs and will bring out more of the parents, which can only add to the benefits. The snacks would be provided by the PTA and anyone willing to donate their cooking or their baking skills. Purchasing of the snacks will go to Sock On only. The donations are up to the donor, how much they want to give. Tickets to the event would be sold for a price, and all the proceeds would also go to Sock On. In order to bring awareness to the event, a letter would be sent home with the students for the parents to read. This would include details about where, when, and why the event is taking place. There's also a request in this letter for dinnerware, which would cut another cost. The more costs cut, the better. The idea behind this event is to use volunteer labor and spend as little as possible so that Sock On would receive as many benefits as possible. Once funds have been raised, a payroll must be established. Anyone on the payroll would be required to fill out a W-2 form. Those on the payroll would include the board of the directors and any outside resources utilized, such as a technological advisor, human resources, etc. So, if the board of directors hired someone to help make an advertisement, they would be on payroll. Anyone that helps with organizing events and such, as long as they are aware, they would be on the payroll. Costs must be kept to a minimum. The ultimate goal is not to make money, but to raise it to help others. However, the IRS requires that employees be paid according to their job description, meaning not everyone would be paid the same amount. The chairperson would get more than the treasurer, who may get more than the marketing director, and so on and so forth. They would also have to partake in a tax withholding, Medicare tax, and Social Security, all the things that are normally taken out of a paycheck. They all have to be taken into account. But if a payroll is done well, it is more beneficial. A well-done payroll is also required to maintain federal, state, and local regulations, as well as transparency. What is transparency? In financial context, transparency is maintaining moral and legal obligations when it comes to financial accountability. This means following all regulations required and being upfront with how the money will be spent and how much of it goes to the cause itself. In being transparent, as a nonprofit organization, the trust of the donors would be preserved. Tax-exempt nonprofits are required to provide copies, upon request, of their most recently filed annual information returns, so the IRS Form 990, and their application for tax exemption. These would also be posted on our website at www.sockon.com. But without brutal honesty, all integrity of the organization is gone and transparency is no longer upheld, which is really important because the relationship between the donors and the nonprofit is vital. If it's not maintained, then it's not likely to succeed. It's not an easy task to manage the finances in a nonprofit group, but if it's done correctly, many of the needy children can benefit from an organization such as Sock On.